For my whole career, I've used D'Addario strings.
This is the one that I use live with Megadeth, and I love it.
I've been with D'Addario my whole career, even when I was playing bass in Van Halen, because that's what Dad would play, D'Addario for life. And I say it right, D'Addario.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Kies for Premier Guitar. Today I'm at the Brooklyn Bowl with Wes of Alluvial. How you doing, Wes?
Good, how are you doing?
Real good, man. I'm super excited to make this happen. I don't want to put you in the spot, but not only are a cowboy from hell, like I am myself, but you're also a fan of the Rig Rundown.
Yeah, big time.
So,
I mean, like when we heard we were doing this, it was among the cooler things I think you could do. I've been watching Premier Guitar for like 15 years. Like everything from Kies to, Propaganda, which is...
Perry's favorite band?
Yeah, there you go.
So let's get into the gear because we have limited time, but we are going to be thorough. So let's talk about this awesome, sick Iceman you got going.
Yeah, this is an LA guitar. This is built by TAC, like probably, I think in 2019. It's a 27-inch scale, pretty kind of standard fare metal spec guitar. We got a maple top, it's pretty figured, and mahogany back. Purple heart stringer up the back, maple neck, ebony board. And people ask me about this bridge all the time.
Yes.
It's a company called ABM. They're German, and they make a tunematic stop tail tunematic stop tail bridge that has a fine tuners on the back for 7 and 8 string. I mean, I know that there's another company that's made a 6-string one for a while, but this is the first one for, bridges with guitars with more than 6 strings on it. So it's my most functional guitar. Like say we're playing a smaller stage and I can't get to, I could play our entire set on this guitar.
Really?
Yeah. So
what do you enjoy about having those on this particular extended range instrument? It's just better stability, or what are you enjoying about having that style bridge versus another?
Well, I have 2 LA guitars now. One of them we'll pull out in a second has a Floyd,
okay.
And I guess I just wanted to try something new. Vogue from Decapitated had this on a guitar, and I checked it out, and I was like, "Fuck, I want to get one." Can I curse? Is it okay?
Yeah,
to curse?
absolutely.
All right, cool. And Frederick from Meshuggah. I guess they got those guys largely are the reason why this thing exists. They got the ABM guys to machine this bridge for 7 and 8 string guitars. So
good enough for them.
Yeah, I got to pop it on there, and. This is a set of Seymour Duncan Jupiters. These are a pickup that I worked on with Duncan for about 2.5 years. They are a ceramic mag rail style pickup that little bit different, I guess, approach than a lot of more modern hot pickups. Like the low end is considerably more rolled off on these than you would find in something else in Duncan's range, like the Nazgul or any of those other popular ones. Great pickups, but this one, I find that if you can get the low end correct, in many cases from a pretty heavy string, like this is a 68 in front of the amp, then you're able to more effectively use resonance controls on amps and stuff like that, because you don't have a big foggy mess. It tends to be in that 200-300 range with the pickup, you know what I mean? Because most times, right, when you get a guitar or a 7-string guitar, the manufacturer, I think, assumes that you're going to have a 56 for a B string, you know what I mean? And you're probably going to be, playing it in B standard. And here we are tuning down a minor third and stuff. So you got to have a heavier string.
G sharp?
Yeah. G sharp standard is what our main tuning is. So it was kind of that choice, making sure that it would be something that would kind of hit the amp correct when you had bigger strings, you know what I mean?
It's funny that you're taking the approach of EQing or correcting the EQ of your tone earlier in the thing, where a lot of times we get hung up on the amp settings or the pedal settings, and we disregard maybe a pickup choice or pickup option in terms of maybe having a slightly better or more pleasing EQ curve. We often overlook the smaller components.
Well, yeah, I feel like there's so many things about tone in general that you can get handled from the guitar itself. I mean, like your string height, the string gauge, and it would appear anyway. Like over the last year or so, I've kind of taught myself how to play on a little bit lighter set of strings. Like this is a 10 to 52 plus a 68, and for G sharp standard. And last year, I was playing all this stuff on an 11 to 56 plus a 78, I believe, was for G sharp. And I mean, dude, that set of strings sounds good for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like almost a set of bass strings. You know what I mean? How bass strings die real fast, same thing. So like, it would appear to me, at least in all the stuff that I've ever done, that the lighter you can go and functionally play still, the better it's gonna be for high gain. I mean, it seems like the opposite is true for like the mid-gain, high headroom, sort of like Dumble, Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. I feel like Stevie Ray Vaughan made everyone feel like they were punk bitches for not playing really heavy strings, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, it's settled into being, you know, like a really perfect guitar. And like the 27-inch scale guitars are really, they're cozy to me. I got pretty big hands. I don't have like Paul Gilbert size hands, but big enough to where like, you know.
You got some meat claws.
Yeah, like this feels pretty normal to me for the most part. So pretty much every other guitar in this rack is a 27-inch guitar except for that one.
Well, sorry to cut you off, Wes. Is like, how did you get to the Iceman shape? Because before this, and you know, I'm sure everything ended amicably with Schecter, but you kind of play more of a Telly style guitar prior to the relationship you're forming.
Yeah, that was
like,
very brief.
Yeah, but what made you go with the Iceman of all the things they have in their arsenal of shapes and points?
Well, I mean, just look at this fatty boom batty. You know what I mean? It's bad as fuck. And I really, I guess like Ibanez is one of those companies that's very rare that they make kind of a version of every single thing I like about guitars, right? Like now they have this AZ line where they have Tellys and Strats. They make formidable jazz box guitars, like all the George Benson guitars and all that. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like, yeah, straight up. They make guitars, jazz guitars for some of the best jazz dudes of all time. So, and then they make these pointy metal guitars. And I mean, I guess growing up, the Jay Younger, Iceman, and then, you know, naturally Paul Stanley and stuff like that, I was attracted to this. And I guess how I ended up with this, I was originally gonna get a Destroyer, and I was messaging with Vogue from Decapitated. He was an Iceman guy for a while, and I was talking about putting in a build with LA, and I was like, I was gonna get a Destroyer, and he was like, oh dude, I was gonna get a Destroyer. Would you be bummed if I got one? And I was like, nah, would you be bummed if I got an Iceman? He was like, fuck no, go for it. So then I got one, and I was just like, I love it, so I got another one, you know? But yeah, it's I grew up kind of playing, I look at this almost like the coolest shape that Gibson never thought of, you know what I mean? Because in a lot of ways, the bridge is oriented where Les Paul or like a Explorer would be. This is sort of like the best things about an Explorer and a Les Paul in a pretty unique shape. So this feels cozier to me, and I can wear this, you know, down at regulation height, you know what I mean?
Regulation height.
And like still play well, whereas on the Strats, the bridge is a little bit further back, so I had to wear it a little bit higher. So this, you know, this is kind of, I think, where I'll stay forever, you know what I mean?
One last question on this main ride. What can you maybe tell more to the audience about? I know that when you were with Seymour, Duncan, and probably exploring their pickups, you kind of landed on the Sentient and Pegasus for a while. Yeah. And how is that different, or maybe a jumping off point to where you got with the Jupiters here?
So I guess like the Alnico Max, right? Like specifically the Pegasus. There is something really cool about the sort of, I guess, Alnico 4 magnet, you know. It seems to be because it's a lower output, you know, naturally definitely a lower output in the ceramic mags that are in this, that it seems like a little bit more like subtle EQ moves are a little bit more noticeable on a pickup that's less hot like that. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I guess if I had the opportunity to work on a pickup with Derek, you know what I mean, it was going to be like, well, how would I improve most of the things that I've been able to try from Duncan now? And you know, like the rail style pickups have always been a favorite of mine. I mean, you know, because of that guy, guilty as charged. You know,
Yeah,
like I
right.
was telling you earlier, I'll play.
Dimebucker?
Yeah, I'll play. Well, no, the Lawrences, and then.
Oh, that's
you
right,
know,
the 500s.
Yeah, the
L500s.
L500 XLs, and then, you know, naturally, like DiMarzio's made a bunch of cool rails, like the
Yeah.
X2N and stuff, and Duncan also makes a rail style pickup that used to be, it's called the El Diablo now, but it was Tony Iommi's pickup for a while too. So those types of pickups have always seemed to have that cool low end roll off in the back, so it just doesn't have a cloudy low end, you know, and you're able to make up for that, you know. Like I feel like on an amp, right? The presence curve seems to be somewhere around 5K, and resonance, you know, seems to be somewhere around like 80, you know what I mean? And like, that'll get pretty shitty sounding on a pickup if a pickup's not right, you know what I mean? So it makes it to where you can have a lot of that 80 in there and feel it, but it doesn't cloud. It still sounds like stringy in 3D, you know?
You're getting some of that producer speak in here with Hertz and Kelly, you know what I mean? Like you're flexing a little bit. You're not just a guitar player.
Well,
you know
I mean,
what I'm
I'm a
saying?
hobbyist engineer at best, but I mean, I can record guitars and bass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've learned enough about that. I don't know shit about recording drums, but I can definitely get some guitars recorded and have them sound good. And this was the result of, I guess, like, spending a lot of time recording different Duncan pickups over the years. And they make my favorite shit, and you know, I'm very grateful to have a pickup with them, and I love this pickup. Still my favorite bridge pickup that there is, and neck pickup.
As we move on to the next guitar, how many prototypes were there between you and Derek, roughly?
I think 5.
Okay.
And they 3D printed the bobbins at first. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have anything like this in a 7-string thing. But yeah, it was 5 of them.
Okay.
And it was the third one that ended up being the one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Right down the
this
middle
guy.
to number 3. Let's see some of these other bad boys.
This is the first LA guitar I got. This is a 25.5 guitar. It is a little bit smaller body than the other one. Pretty much the same specs. Like, you got a Purple Heart stringer up the back, mahogany body, maple neck.
You're a volute guy. I noticed on both of these, on the neck there.
You know, dude, I didn't even ask for that. That was a tack thing. I mean, sometimes he goes a little hog wild and does some shit that, like, you don't even ask for, but it's usually cool. Like that has an arched top to it, and that's
it
apparently
does.
only a thing that you see on Paul Stanley's guitars. He's the only one, but he decided to just put it on there for me, and I was like, all right, you know, cool. But yeah, this is the first one, and I learned a lot of shit from this one, right? Like, these guitars were always kind of intended to be 24 3/4 guitars, you know, like they like I said, almost just like the best Gibson that Gibson never even thought of. And you know, when you start making it a little bit longer and you put tuners way out here, it kind of likes to go like that a little bit. So
Top heavy.
I learned a lot of stuff on this that we kind of fixed with that one. I mean, that one balance is great. This one doesn't as great, but it's still, I mean, it's got to be like one of my best sounding guitars. Like, I recorded all the solos on our newest EP with this. But yeah, this is mostly a guitar that I would use to play for our standard tuning songs, like 40 Stories and Sugar Paper and all that stuff. But it's we haven't played those songs on this Tesseract tour at all. We've just been playing them on the rounding shows because we got 30 minutes on this, and we're just trying to play at power 30, you know, trying to make everyone shake their asses, you know.
Sustainer in the neck?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes, love it too. I'm surprised more people don't have that. It's like the coolest. I mean, it's a hands-free Ebo, you know what I mean? And like, there's a lot of really famous guys that have it. Like Steve Vai is like a big guy. Zach Wilde.
Here's one that we just did not too long ago. It's going to come out before yours, is Steve Hackett, Sustainer in the neck.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that one coming.
I mean, Phil Collin, I'm sure too, from Def Leppard's got one. Yeah. There's plenty of guys who do it, but for whatever reason, like, whenever I let someone play this guitar, they're like, "Holy shit! I didn't know about this." That's how you activate it on this one, is just pulling up the thing.
Oh, I thought you said "holy shit," and that's how it activates.
Yeah. But yeah, there's the thing for the 3 modes. That one's like unison. This is a 5th in the middle, and then that's an octave up. But yeah, this is This is.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you gave us the gauges. I see the numbers on the side. What brand are you running strings wise?
NYXL.
D'Addario.
Yeah. Andy Pitcher. Shout out. Thank you everybody. And Rob Cunningham. That's the other guy.
They're our sponsors too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For this video? Killer.
They're bread
or
and
in
our
just
butter.
general.
Or one other button or a bread.
Yeah. I guess I'll move on real
Let's
quick.
do it.
And then I guess there's no reason in showing both of these, but Ibanez made a guitar called the 1077 XL in like the 00s, and they got rid of it. And it was a guitar that had a single hum, and it looked just like this, same paint job and everything. It's a 27-inch scale guitar with a trem, and they brought it back, and I asked for one because I wanted to feel what a 27-inch scale guitar would feel like with a trem, because kind of working on something with Ibanez at the moment, and I wanted to see what that would be like, and I love it, and I love the way that this guitar sounds, and like I know for most people out there, you feel like you played like a prestige Ibanez, and you're like, yeah, they're dope, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, these just are just out of control, sick. I had to get two. But yeah, I usually play half the set with this, and then I grab the yellow Iceman for any of the trem stuff and everything like that. But yeah, this is a basswood body guitar. I had a tremolo in there. I take it out because like I lose shit off this thing at my house. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna totally lose it out here. But yeah, the FU tone springs in the back, two of them, and
Do you have their titanium stuff as well, or just the springs?
I just got a Floyd from them
Because guys that get into it, like Phil Collin, they get really serious about like that being a difference maker.
Yeah. I mean, they have a brass claw. You know what I mean? They have like pretty much everything you can upgrade about a trem FU tone makes, but like, yeah, a lot of it isn't a direct retrofit for the Godot stuff. So some of it is though, and yeah, I've kind of ventured into it, but I have an actual Floyd at home right now that's totally done up, all sick.
Okay.
I just had to drop it into a guitar, but yeah.
Are you biased or land on one side of the fence when it comes to Godot or Floyd Rose? Are you?
I think that this low pro edge trim is about one of the best trims that you could get. The Floyd thing is just one of those, it's kind of like, you know, you can go to an AutoZone right now and buy an alternator for a fucking 2008 Econoline, and like you could do that any day of the week, you know what I'm saying? So there's just more Floyds in guitars than there are low pro edges, so it's just easier to get upgrades for them. It would be cool if Godot was just like, yo, and just like started making stuff for it. I think people would buy it. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this trim as it is. They do make blocks and shit like that, but you can't put this, you know, clip down thing on the back to hold the springs in, and that seems to be important. But yeah, rosewood board, maple neck, basswood body, RG, 27 inches long.
Shred stick, man.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're a boogie guy, and you know, you did an interview with our magazine, I believe last year, and you talked about using some modded boogies on the record. But you're getting lean and mean here with your rig. So talk to me about what you've decided upon and how you're using it.
Well, this is, I mean, our polite support act, get the fuck out of the way, fast rig, you know what I mean? And I profiled Revision G rectifier that I have, and that is the main rhythm sound and like the lead sound in there. And some of the other stuff that I've got for like cleans were from a Friedman JJ head, the Jerry Cantrell head and stuff like that. But it's all stuff that I made, so it's about as close to being able to bring a big like fire breathing, you know, tube rig out here someday, one of these days. But for now, this is cool because for the most part, it turns on every day and works. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah. And I mean, tube amps, like, here's the thing, man. Like, they're fussy. You know what I mean? Like I toured with an Uber shawl a few years ago, and that thing blew fuses just every other fucking day.
I bet.
And you know, like, I'm not the most savvy guy. I try to learn a lot, but like, you know, this thing is pretty small. I can do a lot of stuff with it, and all, you know, naturally, like, all the tempo specific delays and everything are just like right in there, and we can fit this in a 12 space rack with both me and Tim's power amps and wirelesses and everything like that. And yeah, like I said, when we get off, we just pull these looms and we're out the door.
Clean
And
business.
that seems to be important, you know.
And you got the power stage
Yes,
running it. Or
both of
powering
us
it.
are doing the Power Stage 700. It is powering 2 EVH cabs over there.
All right.
And he is powering these 2 Ampeg 610s with his. But yeah, I mean, we're both really happy with them. Like, of course, like I said, in the event that, you know, we're ever doing a Maris Bank amphitheater in the next few years, I'll make sure that we do another one of these, and you'll be like, all right, so these 6 rectifiers go to these cabs over here, and yeah, and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been cool and reliable, and we're able to get in and out of the door with it pretty fast.
And the last thing I'll ask about the Kemper is any of the personal profiles that you've created part of that download pack that you've made available?
Yeah, actually, trip out. I did one of that Revision G rectifier, and Mike Recon from Acacia Strain was like, yeah, dude, like, I gotta give it up to you. Like, everyone tells me my shit sounds super dope, and I just tell them it's yours. And I was like, wait, should I go check that thing out again? And I checked it out. I was like, oh, this really was a good one. So then I started using it, just because, like, if you go watch videos of Acacia Strain right now, they sound fucking crazy, and it's one guitar. Oh, that's one other thing I should say. On this tour that I started doing, in the EQ menu on the Kemper, there's a thing called delay widener. There's a thing called double tracker and something else, but the delay widener, you can literally delay one side by up to 40 milliseconds. And 40 is cool if you're gonna play like Ozzy, you know what I mean? But if you're gonna play like 16th notes, like so I'm at 10 milliseconds on one side. I think it's delaying the right side. So it just kind of sounds like like in ears. One time, it fooled everyone thinking, like, they thought, like, wait, is there a guitar track on or whatever? Like, it sounds big enough in the ears where it kind of, like, it fools you for a second. You think that, and that's made, I guess, playing in ears a lot more pleasant too, you know. And out front, I mean, I suppose, you know, Chase could be like doing it just from the board, like delaying it, but being able to do it from here and then everyone hear a big guitar in their ears makes for a better experience in ears, I guess. But yeah, that's about it for me. Should we get Tim out here?
Let's do it. Let's talk to Tim quick.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you so
That was
much.
fucking sick. Thank you, guys.
All right, we are joined by Tim, the bassist. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good.
Man, I appreciate your time. We got to go super quick, but we would be remiss if we didn't include your setup. So, run me through your bass. What do you got?
So this is an Iron Label BTB 625EX by Ibanez.
Nice.
It's a real gnarly bass. It does the heavy metal thing real great. It's pretty evenly balanced. There's a few changes that I've made to make it a little more my own.
Let's hear it.
They normally come with, I think it's Bartolini MH1s or something like that, but I actually swapped them out for some Aguilar DCBs. It's a ceramic magnet. It's a little more attack. It's a little more even frequency response. And I find for the one guitar player band, one guitar, one bass, they kind of help to bridge that gap a little bit between like missing the low end and low mids.
And then Wes playing, you know, extended range instruments, 7-string, you know, so it's you guys are overlapping in a pleasant way, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's a real party. I really like the BTB stuff. It's kind of more reminiscent of what I like in a bass, just a little bit longer scale rather than your typical 34. It's a 35.
Okay.
Holds tension a little bit better. What else about this thing? Strings. I'm a Diodario strings.
Hell
just a 50 to 145 set. Kind of the Alex Webster special. If it works for him, it's good enough for heavy metal. You know,
good enough bar. And are you using a pick at all, or always finger?
I'm doing picks. I got some real sick ones made by Dunlop. I'm normally a yellow guy. Some nice little printed.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
And for any video game fans who like Metal
Little
Gear
Easter
Solid,
egg. Yeah.
they'll pick up on that real quick. But yeah, just doing the 70, 73s, the yellows, regular Tortex shape. Feels real good for bass. It doesn't make me pitch dive too far, and feels real good under the hand.
And what should we know about, I'm sure it's like a 3-band EQ, or what's going on with electronics in conjunction with the Aguilar?
So the preamp on this thing is just the stock BTB preamp.
Okay.
I don't really use it a whole lot. You know, if I got some dead strings and I don't feel like being super active, having a lazy day,
Yeah.
I might crank up a little top end, and kind of helps it come back to life a little bit. But for the most part, it's just a stock BTB preamp. Sounds real sick. I normally just run it flat, so that way going into amp world, everything kind of reacts the same way. I guess that's a good transition.
As I say, it was a killer transition. It's like you've done this before.
I'm a Helix guy.
Oh, does that cause any trauma within the band? You know, Helix, Kemper?
No, funny enough, the kids play real well together. So I'm doing the Helix thing. I've been using it since about 2018.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's a great platform.
Yeah.
It's real streamlined. You don't get like 15 versions of the same amp.
Yeah.
You don't have to menu dive a whole bunch of crazy ways
user-friendly.
to figure things out. Very user-friendly. I'm doing some pretty ridiculous stuff in these patches where
Lay it on us.
every scene, almost every block has some kind of change to it, whether it's compression settings, gain settings, EQ curves, you know, effects.
So you're
on
testing
and
the
off.
power of this thing.
I got this thing pretty maxed out.
Yeah.
For what it's able to handle, and it's
You're not a stock guy, not a preset guy. You're going in.
no. I wouldn't say I am.
Yeah, you like tweaking knobs.
A lot of what I do is kind of from a studio approach of
All right.
being able to split the bass, have my low, mid, and top end kind of all separate, but then blendable at the end of the chain. So that way, again, we're a one guitar player, one bass band. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of bandwidth that I kind of get to take up.
Getting greedy.
And, yeah, why not? If I got the space, might as well. But yeah, running one side is all Helix, where I think I'm using their Mesa M9
Okay.
amp sim for kind of my clean bass sound, my sub sound.
Okay.
And then on the dirty side of things, I'm trying something new for this tour. It's a Dark Glass Microtubes Infinity.
Ooh.
The
Not familiar with the Infinity.
it's similar to the Atom. It's in the same line of their programmable bass preamps, but it's the B3K, the X7, I believe, and the VMT from their distortion line.
That's a healthy choice of distortion and
It's some pretty
Fury.
meaty, pretty meaty choices to select from, and I believe I'm using the X7 side of things to kind of replicate more of a 5150 sound for my distortion. Those get blended together. They go to a nice cab IR by 3 Sigma audio.
All right.
I think is what I'm using, and it's a Mesa 6x10, which is kind of the closest thing I have to my Ampeg 610s on the floor. Yeah, then it just splits the front of house for direct sound, and we get cab volume.
And then you also have the Seymour Duncan power stage as well.
That goes to the power stage, and it wouldn't be rock and roll without moving some air behind you.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily I have 2 little mini fridges to
I was going to say the fridges.
really push some boulders up a mountain, and it feels real good to ride the Lightning, to have that presence behind us and still be able to give it a modern direct sound to front of house, and that's all for me.
Yeah, man.
And whoever's in the front. So
Give it all you got, man. And Tim, I appreciate your time. I know that we're running against it. Last show of the tour, get you
Oh,
home
good.
for Thanksgiving. Tim, I know
Absolutely.
Wes is somewhere around here. We appreciate him. You guys keep rocking, and we love you.